You lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
Hit the guys up on the Riverwind Casino call-in line at 405-329-9000 or text the show on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line at 405-651-3439.
Do it! Just do it!
Now, with Locked In, here's Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
You going to the Cotton Bowl next month for OU Texas, Grayson?
You know, I wish I could. My girlfriend asked me if I could, but I've got high school stuff to do on that Friday night, so
On that Friday night. What about Saturday?
Are there still tickets available?
There are always tickets available. It simply depends upon how much you're willing to part with out of the wallet in order to get you a ticket.
This could be a trip that, as long as I don't have to produce pre- or post-game here, that I could possibly swing.
Have you ever been to OU Texas before?
I have not.
Okay. See,
No.
this is a pilgrimage that you must make.
Okay.
And you must make it soon because here's the thing. You're here in the OU market. We're talking about OU football and recruiting every single day. I would posit that in order to provide holistic opinions on all things OU football, you have to experience OU Texas at least once.
Oh, hell no, I'm not going down. The cheapest tickets are like $450.
And?
I'm not. No.
Believe me,
No.
you spend $450 on an OU Texas ticket, it will be worth the investment.
But then
you will walk away glad you made that investment.
Doc, for a one-day trip down there.
Yep.
I mean, you're talking about, okay, so we're talking gas to get down there.
Sure.
We're talking food. I'm a nightlife person, so you know we've got those excursions as well.
Okay.
Dog, that's a $700 thing.
Yep. All told, that's probably true.
For 24 hours.
Yep. It's the best day of the year. It's the best 24 hours of the year. Take the plunge. You'll be glad you did.
You know, if my check looks looks good enough, I might think about it. I'm not gonna lie to you. I might think about it.
The reason I bring it up is because I had forgotten that this was the case. But the Cotton Bowl last year, when we were down there for the game, which of course Texas won 34-3 in lopsided fashion, the Cotton Bowl and whatever individuals operate on an executive level, the Cotton Bowl as a venue. It was in the middle of, or I should say in the early stages of, a massive renovation. Apparently there's $140 million that was being sunk into renovations to the Cotton Bowl. And I knew this vaguely. I had forgotten that it was happening in real time, mostly because a lot of what happened last year in the Cotton Bowl I had wiped from my memory.
Mm-hmm.
Not a very memorable day, particularly if you have an interest in the University of Oklahoma. But I was scrolling through Twitter earlier today, and Brad Townsend, the sports enterprise reporter for the Dallas Morning News, posted a bunch of videos from the Cotton Bowl where apparently the Dallas Morning News got a tour of all of the renovations that the Cotton Bowl has undergone in the last year. And anybody who has experienced the Cotton Bowl on an OU Texas Saturday knows that there are some renovations that have been needed in that venue for some time now.
Uh-huh.
If you find this Twitter thread, and Brad Townsend, you can find him on Twitter at TownBrad. TownBrad on Twitter. He posted a video of some of the new concessions, the new, more expansive entryway on the west side of the stadium, a bunch of cool vintage art, some suites and hospitality areas, as well as the brand new press box. Now, generally on game days, I'm not up in the press box. In fact, I think the last time I was in a press box on a game day would have been OU Texas 2020. I'm typically down at field level. But the new press box at the Cotton Bowl looks amazing. They've relocated it to the southwest corner. I don't know what they're going to do with the old press box, if that's just going to become like luxury seating or whatever. But I'd forgotten that there were $140 million being poured into Cotton Bowl renovations. And to this I say yes and amen. Because I don't care what anybody else thinks of the Cotton Bowl. We can fight till the cows come home and we're blue in the face about this. I never want OU Texas moved from the Cotton Bowl.
Never. And I don't think I remember we had this conversation maybe like a month or two after I joined the station last year. And my argument for why it could be moved from the Cotton Bowl isn't that I want to see it moved from the Cotton Bowl. It's that there was so much wrong with the venue. And then obviously not the safest area in the world. We all know that. But it's good to see them putting those renovations in because – no, this needs to stay at the Cotton Bowl, split down the middle like it's always been, in the middle of the state fair. So if you can make those renovations and make it I know it's not going to be entirely comfortable because it seems like the entirety of both teams' fan bases migrate down there for that game. But if you can make it just a little bit more comfortable for people, you're doing good work.
Slim Brady says, Grayson, have the sugar mama pay for it.
Believe me, my relationship is not it is not one where I have a sugar mama.
Gunny of Stutzman Army says, I've never gotten to attend a Red River Showdown. Hope you get to go, Grayson.
And again, I would like to. I would generally like to. That would be a lot of fun.
Tulsa Boomer points out, hey, Grayson, that $450 also gets you into the state fair.
I've been to the state fair of Texas many a time. I don't miss it, but would be fun.
Not that Travis in Tulsa says, Plank works on Friday and goes to the game. Poke Grayson.
Well, I call high school football on Friday nights. That's the difference.
Get up early. I mean, it's 2:30 a.m. kick. Maybe it's less feasible in the past if it's
11
a.m. But we got a 2:30 this year.
Papa Boganowski says, ball till you fall, Grayson.
Amen.
Amen to that.
I think he's been down the last 2 years for OU Texas. Nothing like it.
Look,
Reformed Sooner says, go, Grayson. You'll never regret it. Nothing like it, especially as a neutral fan.
CJ Sooner in Florida says, take off that dumb Yankee hat, Grayson. No.
Are you a Yankees guy?
We've talked about this before.
We have?
Yes, we have.
Any and all baseball conversations get filtered out of my head pretty quickly. So,
yeah, you're the Dodgers fan. I'm a Yankees fan.
Hey, it's about time for me to embrace Dodgers fandom again. Every single October, I throw the Dodgers gear back on, baby.
That's the most bandwagon thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
It's not bandwagon because I've been a Dodgers fan all my life. What it is fair weather fandom. I'm not ashamed of it. I can't pay attention to 162 games of regular season baseball the way I used to. I've got too much going on in my life. But I know the Dodgers are going to be playing in October every single year. So at that point, hey, they're closing in on a World Series.
That's hilarious.
I'll throw the hoodie and ball cap back on.
There's a lot of people on here that are saying they're officiating games on Friday nights. Okay, how about this? I'll make a concession. If I can find a decent hotel, because I really don't want to stay with my parents if I go down there for that weekend, even though my parents live about 45 minutes from the Cotton Bowl. If I can find a decent hotel, I will heavily consider going down there.
Okay. Heavy consideration is good enough for me. Puerto Rican Sooner, this is sad and yet hilarious. My brother-in-law got back to his truck after Red River, and his truck was on cement blocks. MFs took his wheels and tires. Oh, man.
I don't know why I'm laughing so hard because that's not funny, but damn.
Oh, the things that go down in Dallas every single year. Gosh.
Cement blocks is crazy.
A 310 listener says, Grayson, have the ref get you a press pass and a press parking pass. Go for free. You could probably swing that.
Do we get those for that game?
I'm sure we probably could. You could pull a few strings. Dink points out you should have found your decent hotel 6 months ago.
And that's my point. And that was my point when I said that. I was
hotels are going to be hard to come by.
I was going to say, I don't know if that'll happen.
Air Force Fish Guy says, I won tickets to the Rattler Caleb Williams game. Life-changing. Boomer. Best football game I've ever attended in my life. I don't know that anything will ever stack up to that one.
That was a hell of a game to watch.
Oh, my goodness. It had it all.
CJ Sooner says, what do you have against your parents, Grayson? Absolutely nothing. I love my mom and dad. I just don't know if I want to stay over at my parents' house after a night out in Dallas. Like, that just seems like such like a vibe switch that, like, but if I had to do it, I would do it for sure.
We're so close, man.
What
Sorry, I sounded like Lincoln Riley.
What are we
there? But
that's twice. That's twice in the last couple of days.
I know, 3 weeks. 3 weeks away from OU Texas. I'm completely genuine, and I'm sure many of you feel this way. I'm completely genuine when I say I look forward to that day more than any other day of the year, bar none. More than Christmas, more than my birthday, more than my anniversary. Nobody tell my wife I said that.
I was about to say, is your wife listening to this right now?
No, I guarantee you she's not. OU Texas is my favorite day of the year. Regardless of what happens in the actual football game, obviously it takes a lot of the air out of it if Oklahoma just gets spanked and it's completely one-sided the way it was in 22 and 24. But the experience of OU Texas is just quintessential college football. Like, it's one of the things that makes college football great. It may not be the consensus or a unanimous opinion that it's the greatest rivalry in the sport. I've never experienced the Iron Bowl. I would like to at some point. I'd like to see Ohio State, Michigan, just to kind of feel that out in terms of the aura surrounding that game. But there's nothing that compares to OU Texas that I've experienced. And, you know, for a kid that grew up in Nebraska, watching that game from afar, appointment viewing every single year, because we didn't get every single Oklahoma game televised up there, but we darn sure got OU Texas televised every single year. It was an 11 a.m. kick on ABC. I guess some years it was 2:30, but it was a morning or early afternoon kick on ABC, nationally televised every single year. We were glued to OU Texas. Getting to experience that game in person as opposed to watching it on TV, I'm telling you, man, that's why I say, it might cost you $700. I think you will regard it as worth the investment in the aftermath.
Now, there have been a couple texters on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line that have said they would start a GoFundMe to go to OU Texas, and here is my promise to you. If y'all start a GoFundMe for me to go to OU Texas, which is the first time I've ever called it that, I will wear a Sooner jersey to the game.
You're going to be a Jersey adult?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you're missing the point there.
You're going to support the University of Oklahoma?
I will wear a Sooner jersey.
Is that going to hurt at all?
It might. It might. But if y'all start a GoFundMe for this, I will wear a Sooner jersey.
There you go. Dan in Madison, Mississippi. Dan's a photographer. Dan's covered a lot of huge games down in the Southeast over the years. He said, the Iron Bowl cannot carry the Gatorade bucket for OU Texas. I've done it. I will take your word for it.
I'll take your word for it then.
I will take your word for it. I just can't imagine anything stacks up to OU Texas in terms of just the in-stadium environment and atmosphere. 50-50 in the stands. 100,000 people in the building. You know, at least half that stadium is roaring throughout the entirety of whatever winds up being 3.5, 4 hours of football. Oh, how glorious it is.
4-star Lost City Sooner says, you will wear no shirt and paint your body crimson. No. I'm not that kind of person.
What would it take for you to do that? How many retweets?
Back to
2018.
My social media hasn't really taken off with the Sooner fan base, but this one would be the one that did if I put a number on it.
Yep.
Let me think on that. The producer says, F this, why are we trying so hard to get a poke to OU Texas?
Because this poke must see the light. He must know the glory of OU Texas. He must witness its splendor with his own two eyes. Listener in Kansas says, amen, Parker. It's the best day of the year, and my wife and I plan our fall vacation around that day.
Okay, then.
I'm so glad so many of you on the text line are as passionate about OU Texas as I am. I would expect nothing less, but this conversation has gone far beyond where I thought it was going to go. I was just going to mention the Cotton Bowl renovations in passing. But as we're just over 3 weeks away, Can't wait for this OU-Texas matchup. I feel like I'm all the more eager for this matchup than I have been in a number of years. Probably part of that is due to the fact that Oklahoma looks like they're going to be a better football team than Texas when those two teams hit the gridiron together in the Cotton Bowl. But by the same token, we've seen it time and again over the years. Regardless of how these two teams look on paper, there's oftentimes some sort of equalizing factor that throws everything into chaos for 3 hours on the gridiron.
I mean, unless one team, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, unless one team is far superior or in a far superior situation than the other, generally that game is a nip and tuck. Throw everything else out the window.
Yep.
Just like Alabama-Auburn.
Every so often, OU will come out and roll. Every so often, Texas will come out and roll. I would say historically, at least in my lifetime, 7 or 8 out of 10 are tight, one-possession, 4-quarter football games. And it's being played in the best environment that you could dream for as a college football fan. Can't wait. Okay, 405-651-3439 is the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. Thanks to those of you that chimed in with all of your passionate takes on OU Texas and the Cotton Bowl. We need to get back to business, though. And on the other side, there is a new offer out in the 2026 class at the wide receiver position, and I am over the moon about it and ready to put the stamp on this kid as the guy that could immediately and would immediately be the best wide receiver commit of Oklahoma's 2026 class if he winds up a Sooner. We will talk about him and talk about some other pertinent recruiting storylines from across the realm of the Sooner recruiting world on the other side. Keep it here on the Ref, the home of Sooner fans.
A true Sooner fan wouldn't be caught dead without the KREF app. Join the Army. Get the app. Tell your friends. This is the Ref, where diehard Sooner fans listen.
Now that open enrollment for healthcare coverage has ended, there's still several options to consider that just might benefit you. Need to purchase your own health insurance? Confused about Medicare? Considering offering benefits to your employees? Call the agents at Allison Insurance, featuring 70-plus years of combined insurance business experience. They're able to help clients avoid mistakes when purchasing individual or group health insurance. Call Allison Insurance at 800-580-5587 or 745-2968. They are the experts.
This is Mark Van Hoos, owner of Van Hoos Fence. Van Hoos Fence has years of experience and proven superior performance, kind of like a certain head ball coach.
We know Van Hoos Fence offers the best value and service for your residential, commercial, or sports fencing needs. Whether it's a new install or repair work, let Mark and his team at Van Hoos Fence be your trusted resource.
Call us today at 405-735-1167.
Save yourself from Googling it up. Go to vhfence.com. They will work with you in a great way.
For the professional, it's not enough to just possess knowledge. That's why at GMC, we seek to refine it, to wield its power, to redefine its boundaries, while pushing the limits. And we put this knowledge to the test in every GMC Sierra by engineering each one to outperform your expectations. So you know you're getting precision and durability when you need it most. And that's what makes the GMC Sierra the truck worth knowing. We are professional grade. See your Oklahoma GMC dealers.
Mike Steele here for Lasher Home Comfort Systems, your trusted home comfort experts in the Oklahoma City metro area. Tim Lasher and his team have more than 130 years of combined experience. They recognize a significant number of homeowners live with inadequate home comfort systems. They specialize in diagnosing your home system issues while providing more efficiency and reducing your utility costs. As an authorized dealer of American Standard, Tim can service your residence or business. Call Tim and his team at 405-579-3113. Lasher Home Comfort Systems.
Football is finally back in Norman. Whether you're just after a quick pickup or feeding the whole team, Chick-fil-A on 12th Avenue has you covered. With dine-in, drive-thru, and delivery options on any size order, we've got no problem taking it all the way to the house. In fact, it would be our pleasure. Try fueling up at your next tailgate with a pretzel cheddar club or cool down with the seasonal cherry berry drinks. Call the 12th Avenue Chick-fil-A at 405-310-3189 or use the Chick-fil-A One app. And remember to eat more chicken.
Oklahoma is rife with high school talent, and KREFSports.tv is the way to see them all before they head to the next level. From OU softball commit Keegan Baker to Washington football commit Mason James, KREFSports.tv brings you the best of Oklahoma 6A sports with the best broadcasters in the state. With softball, volleyball, and now football season ongoing, tap into KREFSports.tv, the best high school sports coverage in Oklahoma.
The best words to hear at the TSA security checkpoint? You're good to go. All it takes is a little preparation. Get to the airport early, bring a carry-on bag that fits in the overhead, and have an acceptable ID. Not all state-issued IDs will cut it. Check out tsa.gov/ID and see which TSA acceptable IDs make the grade, like a real ID or passport.
Before you jet, do a little prep, and you're good to go. Check out tsa.gov/ID or the MyTSA app.
What are you doing out there?
Come on!
I saw you at the game the other night. Yeah, you. Up there getting mad, acting like we're all out there making $1 million a game. Well, let me be real with you. This isn't the pros. It's school sports, and it's a game, our game. So please, let us play.
School sports fans, remember, when you cheer for your team, make noise for the right reasons. This message presented by the NFHS and the NIAAA.
And all student athletes in Oklahoma.
We're going to do it, folks, by hook or by crook. We will get Grayson Singleton to the Cotton Bowl on the second Saturday in October. We're going to make it happen. You remember the infamous quote from The Office where Pam goes, "I feel God in this Chili's tonight." That's how it is.
That I do.
That's how it is being in the Cotton Bowl on the second Saturday in October.
I tell you,
you feel God in the Cotton Bowl. If you are ever tempted to question the origin of the universe, go stand in the Cotton Bowl at kickoff the second weekend of October and realize that the Big Bang and evolution could never have produced something this flawless.
Well done. I will say this, Parker, and I know I don't work for your publication, but I could make myself useful to you in a setting like that.
Really?
I don't know if you want to discuss this on air or anything like that, but I do have experience shooting film or shooting video.
Really?
I have done this before.
Interesting.
I shot the 2021 Fiesta Bowl.
Really? Who was playing in the 2021 Fiesta Bowl?
Oklahoma State and Notre Dame.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Or I guess it was January 22.
Yeah, New Year's Day at 22, if I recall correctly. But, well, credentialed or not, we will find a way to get you in the building for your first OU Texas experience. Speaking of my publication, OUinsider.com. If you're a VIP over there, boy, are you ahead of the curve when it comes to all things OU football recruiting, team information, insider intel, and so much more. If you're not subscribed over there, I would highly encourage it. You can go try it out, just $1 for your first week. If you don't like it, you don't have to stick around. But we feed you a lot of quality information. And in fact, Grayson Singleton, nearly 2 months ago, I went back and I found the exact date. July 25th, 2025. July 25th, I tossed a name out to members at OUinsider.com as somebody that at that time I could confirm Oklahoma had begun to establish contact with and kind of probe in terms of his receptiveness to entertaining an offer from the University of Oklahoma. That individual was 4-star wide receiver Mylan Paris out of the state of Ohio. Now, at the time, and as of right now, he was and is committed to Iowa State. However, as of this afternoon, the Sooners are officially in the mix to flip him. Oklahoma offered Mylan Paris earlier this afternoon after a couple of months of flirtation behind the scenes. And Grayson Singleton, I absolutely love Mylan Paris's game.
Kid is good.
He is 6'5", 210 pounds. And you hear those measurables and you think tight end, right? And then you turn on the film. And it's very, very clear when you turn on the film that this is no tight end.
No. Oh, no.
This is a jumbo wide receiver and a dang good one. Now, Oklahoma has commitments right now from Daniel Odom and Xavier Okafuleze at the wide receiver position. Two very talented specimens. Sizable guys. Odom 6'2", Okafuleze 6'3", 6'4". They're in the mix for Braden Allen out of the state of Louisiana. It's a kid about 6 feet tall. More of your downfield type of threat. He's going to be in town for an official visit this weekend. Oklahoma appears to be in good shape to flip him. Braden Allen's a really good player. Xavier Okafuleze is a really good player. Daniel Odom's a really good player. I am firmly of the opinion that if Mylan Paris winds up in Oklahoma's 2026 class, he's the best wide receiver of the group. I'm all in on this kid. Love him, love his skill set, love his potential. First time I saw his film, I had the exact same thought as when I saw R. Mason Thomas's film for the first time. How in the world is this kid committed to Iowa State? Because R. Mason Thomas was committed to Iowa State for quite a while. But Mylan Paris, in recent weeks, has earned a bunch of big-time offers. Early season senior film has been impressive. Miami has offered. Auburn has offered. And, of course, obviously, most recently, as of just a couple hours ago, Oklahoma in the mix to flip the kid. What say you about the Mylan Paris experience from what you've seen on tape?
It's interesting, and I disagree with your last point that he would easily be the best, because I don't, at least when I compare him to Daniel Odom's film, Daniel Odom, I think, has more of a mastery of more of the route tree than Mylan Paris has. That's my only point of contention with that, because Mylan Paris, good release off the line of scrimmage. It's a lot of go balls, a lot of deep balls. He runs the comeback a little bit, but when I contrast it to Daniel Odom's film, I see digs, I see slants, things of that nature. So that's the only contest I have there. Here's what you left out. He's a 6'5", 210 dude that runs a 4.47 in the 40. So the dude's a burner too. Great at the contested catch, and you know, there are some guys that you watch and you see, okay, they should dominate because they're that much physically superior than who they're going up against. He is a technically sound wide receiver, which is why you get so excited about him. His ball skills and his tracking in the air are exquisite. He has good body control for a guy his size. Sometimes kids don't learn how to grow into their body if they're that big, that young. Highly, highly exciting prospect. He's got the makings of a dude who is going to perform big time, whether he's in the Big 12 or the SEC.
Now, I mentioned this back in July to members at OU Insider. But the situation with Mylan Paris at the time is part of the reason Oklahoma didn't offer immediately was because they had to have a sense that he was seriously considering backing off his Iowa State pledge, that he would seriously entertain the possibility of being a Sooner, or otherwise Oklahoma would just focus their efforts elsewhere. At the time, a couple of months ago, the vibe I got, or the vibe that OU got, I should say, in dealing with Paris, was that he wasn't really in much of a hurry. There wasn't much of a sense of urgency to explore other options. He was content with his commitment to Iowa State, didn't really want to take a look elsewhere. The fact that that offer went out today would indicate that something has changed. And maybe it took some other big-time offers from the likes of Miami and Auburn, etc., to convince Mylan Paris that, hey, I probably should take a step back, reevaluate my options. But in talking with one particularly well-placed source over the last hour or two, and just keeping up that correspondence, there's a sense on the OU side that they have a legit chance with this kid. So it isn't just going to be the type of thing where they throw an offer to Mylan Paris out of courtesy and that's all you ever hear of it. No, I expect Oklahoma to push to get this kid on campus for an official visit, and I expect them to seriously challenge to flip his commitment from Iowa State.
I will say this, though. You know, sometimes if he was just so content with Iowa State, this could be part of the mindset. Sometimes you don't know how good you actually are. And the kid obviously the kid knows he's a solid football player, really good football player, and he sees Iowa State as like, nope, this is where I can play, and this is where I'll excel. And sometimes it takes those other pushes and people telling you, wait, no, you can be here. And then he's like, oh, I guess I should probably think about this a little bit more. So I'm not saying that's what was going through his head. I've obviously never talked to the kid. But, maybe a light came on. It's like, oh, I can play in the SEC. A lot of people want me to do so. But the kid is solid, man. Really good.
Kyle from Salisaw, great point. If we can get all those guys, my goodness, the size we would have. Yeah, Daniel Odom, 6'2", 6'3"-ish.
Yeah.
Xavier Okafaleze, having seen him in person, I'd say he's a legit 6'4". Mylan Paris is a legit 6'5". This would be a huge wide receiver class, literally, for Oklahoma, if they were able to land Paris. And this is this is the Nagy philosophy taking over, right? Nagy's whole thing, Jim Nagy's whole thing, and the front office at Oklahoma, their whole thing is, we're going to find NFL bodies at wide receiver. We're going to find the type of wide receivers that you see playing on Sundays. And so, even though it was kind of controversial, they decided to back off Mason James up at Norman North, who's a guy that, for all of his talents and just wondrous abilities, is not very physically imposing. And they took a chance on Okafaleze. They were able to hang on to Odom. Braden Allen, again, that's a 6-foot receiver. He's not small. And now they're going for the white whale, if you will, in Mylan Paris, who is kind of a unicorn in this class when you're talking about somebody of that size that can move that well. There are precious few other receivers in this 26 cycle, and just generally on an annual basis, guys that are 6'5" plus that are going to be able to move it as effortlessly as he does. Tattoo Baker, quoting Hugh Freeze, timely. As Hugh Freeze did say, you need size and girth in this league. That is true. Mylan Paris, yes, I would say, has both the size and the girth.
Pause.
To play wide receiver.
I was hoping you were going to say that.
6'5" and 210. Again, 210, like that right there. What that tells you is, okay, this isn't a praying mantis type of receiver. He's not just a guy who's long and skinny, like one of those air dancers you see outside a car dealership. Uh-huh. No, he's got some bulk on him.
No, yeah, he's a well-built kid, and still runs a 4.47 at that size. Keep that in mind too.
I think this is phenomenal. A listener in California found you a hotel. They went to Trivago and found you a hotel.
Wait, did you actually?
Yes. This listener just texted in with basically a full itinerary for you. There you go. Your hotel situation is figured out for OU Texas weekend. All you got to do now is go finesse you a ticket.
I'm kind of curious. This is actually impressive. Well done.
Eric and Shawnee says, we still need wide receivers like Burks and Satania as well. Quick, fast, and elusive. Now, that's true, right? Like, you can't have just trees in your wide receiver room, and I don't think it's ever going to get to a point where Oklahoma is operating with one archetype of wideout. But when you look at some of the younger guys that are still in the room for Oklahoma, guys that maybe aren't playing a major role at wide receiver right now, but that project to in the years to come. Josiah Martin comes to mind. 5'10", 165-ish. He's going to have to put some more meat on his bones, but they really like his potential. Mm-hmm. Jacob Jordan, true sophomore. He's got plenty of ball ahead of him at the University of Oklahoma. Elijah Thomas, by the time he's done at the University of Oklahoma, could be one of the best that has worn the uniform in the 21st century. And he's a little bit taller than Burks, a little bit taller than Satania. He's got all of the same burst and elusiveness, though. He's going to be quite the chess piece in that wide receiver room for years to come. And so, then you look at a guy like, okay, Manny Choi, Zion Kearney, Ivan Karin. You already have some big, lengthy guys in that receiver room as it is. But there seems to be more of an emphasis right now, at least from Jim Nagy's point of view, in reloading with more size at wide receiver. Okafaleze, Odom, Mylan Paris. It's a heck of a trio. You're just looking for big dudes that can come play high-caliber football at the University of Oklahoma, be downfield threats in addition to red zone threats, and just make your offense in general a very difficult offense for opposing defensive coordinators to match wits with in the Southeastern Conference. I love it. I love Paris. We'll see where this goes between him and Oklahoma. Doesn't really, and I'll say this, he doesn't really feel like a guy that Oklahoma needs right now, based on numbers. But the fact that they're making a push for him now speaks to the reality that they see him as good enough, they'll make room for him. They'll make a spot.
And again, surprise transfers happen. You never know what's ever going to happen on the back end.
Well, and to that point, who was very conspicuously not on the availability report last night?
Jay Knott.
Close. I'll give you a hint. He's 6'5" and plays wide receiver.
Cario?
Jaden Gibson.
Oh, that dude, yeah.
Yeah. And the fact that he was nowhere to be found on the availability report would indicate, and it is the sense I have gotten as well, that you're not going to see him this year. And frankly, with the current state of the wide receiver room, as well as the fact that by season's end, Jaden Gibson will have missed 2 full years due to injury, it's fair to wonder whether he ever wears the crimson and cream again.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
And so Jaden Gibson is a guy that maybe you weren't planning on having to replace him 6 months ago, but now you're in a position where you got to plan for his absence at a certain point. And if you're looking for somebody of that archetype, somebody from the same mold, cut from the same cloth, Mylan Paris, there you go.
You want to get a couple texts here before we get to break. Michael and Marlo says, what about Tatum? He wasn't on there either.
Yeah, he's healthy as far as I know. And like fully active. And the same can be said for Caden Helms. Even though he does have that cast on his hand still, he's fully active. He's available. He could go play if they needed him to play, and he's been practicing with that soft cast on his hand. So he hasn't been limited in any capacity.
Santa John says, don't make him work. He doesn't need to see it through a camera lens on his first time at the game.
Ooh, see, that's a good point. I don't know if I would want you seeing it through a camera lens.
Actually, I disagree because I love working events like that. To me, it's the best seat in the house.
Yes, but here's the thing. It's not necessarily about that. It's about if you're going to be able to process and savor and enjoy the full experience. I don't know if you want your first OU Texas game to be a game in which you're working.
See, again, I've only been to one New Year's Six Fiesta. I've only been to one New Year's Six game in my life. Would not have traded how I watched that game for anything.
Okay, fair enough. We'll see what we can do.
Dan in Madison, Mississippi. Amen. Amen, sir.
What did he say?
Parker, get your man Grayson a field pass. Come on.
Unfortunately, this year, the Texas Communications Department is the one regulating credentials for this football game because Texas is the designated home team. So I have less strings.
Is that how that works?
Yes, I have less strings to pull.
I did not know that's how that worked.
We'll see what happens. I'll see what I can do. 405-651-3439 is the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. More of your texts, more OU football and recruiting talk on the other side. One final segment coming your way here on The Ref, the home of Sooner fans.
The Ref Radio Sports Network is powered statewide by the insurance adjusters at Brown O'Haver. Fire, wind, theft, or tornado, we can help. Call 405-735-5510.
Don't miss out on OKC's hottest entertainment at the Showplace Theater with acts like
Bret Michaels, September 27th. Collective Soul, October 17th. And the Oak Ridge Boys, November 28th.
Riverwind is OKC's favorite casino
experience.
From downtown Norman to Lake Thunderbird, the Subaru Crosstrek Premium is built for all of Oklahoma's roads, paved or dirt. This ride will get you through it all. And right now at Cavender Subaru of Norman, it's yours for just $249 a month. Let's start your next adventure now. Come by and take it for a test drive today. Visit us online at CavenderSubaruofNorman.com or in person at 3305 Corporate Center Drive, Cavender Subaru of Norman, where confidence is Cavender.
Hey guys, it's Dory Noka. Have you been involved in an auto accident? If so, it's time to contact the OKC Car Crash Clinic of Dr. Martin Lopez. He's a board-certified and fellowship MD with unparalleled training and experience. Dr. Lopez works with a great team of healthcare professionals and attorneys to help you achieve the best physical and financial recovery. Contact Dr. Lopez at 405-86-CRASH or at OKCCrash.com. Don't forget to listen every week to the Dory Noka Show for the Impact Player of the Game, brought to you by Dr. Martin Lopez.
A happy place comes in many colors. One that leaves you feeling refreshed. Something that gets you all fired up. Or gives you the space to chill. Whatever your color, bring happiness home with CertaPro Painters and make your happy place your home. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Get started today at CertaPro.com. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
How was your drive to school?
Let me tell you, I had to get my iced coffee first. I just can't seem to put it down. My favorite rapper just announced a tour. My phone was buzzing like crazy. I'm so excited. I had to text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then, someone started calling me and...
Let's try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive distracted.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Two neighbors, same street, same hailstorm. Your neighbor got a new roof, but your claim was denied. How is that even possible?
Because not all insurance companies play fair. Some follow the rules, others follow secret internal strategies to deny your claim.
The insurance companies have internal storm plans, but they aren't plans to fully compensate you. Instead, it's just a secret strategy to reduce or deny your claim.
If your neighbor's roof got approved and yours didn't, it's time to fight back. Call McIntyre Law today at 405-777-7000.
Severe weather can strike when you least expect it. Be ready. Download the KOCO5 News app and enable notifications.
I'm getting the alerts from Channel 5 on my phone, and so we decided to go to our safe room.
Customize the alerts sent directly to you. Severe weather coverage streaming right to your phone.
This is your tornado moving up to the northeast.
The most accurate forecast, preparing you days in advance. Before severe weather strikes, get the first alert. Download the KOCO5 News app.
Ready to jumpstart your future? Start training for a high-demand, high-wage career in healthcare, construction, IT, manufacturing, or STEM while you're still in high school. Moore and Norman sophomores, juniors, and seniors apply online today to attend Moore Norman Technology Center next fall. Talk to your MNTC rep at school or visit mntc.edu to learn more. Change your life, build your tomorrow, start your future now at Moore Norman Technology Center. Final segment of Locked In here on the Ref, the home of Sooner fans. Shout out to Euro Hero, man. They brought us lunch today here at the studios, and it was phenomenal. Single location, independently run concept here in Norman. Combination of Greek and Lebanese dishes. Excellent daily specials, including on Friday, so think tomorrow, their $6 chicken sandwich. And then Saturday lunch, if you need to grab a quick bite before heading to the game, or wherever you may be watching the game, $7.50 Euro and fries. Euro Hero also available for carryout on DoorDash, Grubhub, and Uber Eats. Catering available for up to 80 people as well. EuroHeroNorman.com or give them a call at 405-701-0777. As we look at Oklahoma's 2026 class, Grayson, obviously it is not a finished product. The Sooners are looking to make a few additions. they'll have a couple of official visitors in town this weekend in Braden Allen and Jacob Curry. So they start to kind of fill the remaining gaps. I want to ask you this, though. Like, if you had to guess, who do you think is Oklahoma's highest-ranked signee on signing day?
Oh. That's a good one.
It feels like primarily a two-horse race right now.
I mean, you would think off the rip, Bentley and Krell.
Yes.
Could I go with Bentley?
That's probably where I would lean at this point as well.
And the only reason I say not Krell is because those short arms or short. I mean,
yeah.
Like,
I mean, it's fair.
I'm not even joking. Like, I mean, we could be real that, like, you know, in a traits-based sport like this is, when you're talking about ranking prospects and whatnot, that'll get you a demerit or two.
It will. And look, he's a tremendous football player with a tremendous motor.
Absolutely.
But I think you're already starting to see it that his the zenith of his national ranking might have already been reached, and he's kind of going to plateau. It's quite the obverse for Bo Bentley. Bo Bentley is a guy that didn't even become a blue-chip prospect until, February of this past year? As it stands, he's a top 50 player in the country. And just based on that senior tape so far, based on some of the plays that Bo Bentley has made through 3 weeks at Salina, and I'm looking forward. I'm supposed to go see him, supposed to go watch him tomorrow night. The tape looks great so far. The tape looks 5-star good. And he's going to be in that conversation, man. He is going to be right there in that conversation. He's already occupying borderline territory. He's already on the cusp. If Bo Bentley keeps balling out the remainder of his senior year like he has through the first 3 games, OU may get him a 5-star. They may have a 5-star on signing day in Bo Bentley. A 405 listener asks, what are Bentley's stats so far? Off the dome, I don't know. What I do know is, week in, week out, he's made plays with his arm, made plays with his legs, and has scored quite a few touchdowns over the first 3 weeks of the season. And Salina as a team is playing really good ball. In their first 3 weeks of the season, 50-28 win over Belleville, 36-6 win over La Vega, and a 43-19 win over Gunter. They play Franklin tomorrow night. That's the game I'll be at. So 3-0 for the defending state champions down there in Texas. Bo Bentley has yet to lose a game in his high school career as the starting quarterback.
By the way, he is now the 4th ranked quarterback prospect according to Rivals.
Yes.
Behind Jared Curtis, Diabell, and Faison Brandon.
And Diabell, I mean, it's unfortunate that this is reality, but he may take a little bit of a hit in the rankings because he's going to miss the remainder of his senior season with an injury.
I heard about that.
Yeah. So that may, brutal game, right? But that may work out in Bentley's favor. Currently number 41 overall, according to Rivals. Yeah. Number 82 overall, according to 24/7.
And again, you know, Jared Curtis, who's committed to Georgia, and Diabell, who's committed to Texas, they're both 5-stars. So if one of them takes a drop, now you're talking about heightening that conversation of Bentley moving in there potentially as a 5-star.
So the reason I bring up Bo Bentley, in addition to obviously wanted to note the reality that he's probably going to be Oklahoma's highest-rated signee on signing day at this point, is because the feelings and the plans have kind of shifted a bit in recent days within the Oklahoma offices at the Switzer Center since Peyton Houston committed to LSU. Here's what I mean by that. Peyton Houston was on Oklahoma's radar, and they were actively recruiting Peyton Houston long before Bo Bentley had taken a snap as the starting quarterback for Salina. He didn't become that program's starter until last fall. At that point, Peyton Houston had already held the Oklahoma offer and been a priority target for Oklahoma for 3 months. And so Oklahoma had every intention of landing Houston in the 2027 cycle. And that was their guy in 27. I mean, that was the only guy they wanted. That was the only guy they prioritized. It was Peyton Houston or bust. And they felt great, obviously, for a long, long time about their ability to close the deal with Houston. But he winds up going to LSU. It is what it is. Bentley, on the other hand, didn't pick up the Oklahoma offer until January of this year. There was the whole soap opera. Jaden O'Neal committed to OU for close to a year, and then Ben Arbuckle shows up, and he decides he'd rather have Bo Bentley, and so there's kind of a cursory, almost obligatory maintenance of the relationship with O'Neal and his camp, trying to keep him on board while they continue their pursuit of Bentley. And then the most predictable outcome is the outcome that winds up materializing, which is that O'Neal decommits and the Sooners land Bentley. Before Oklahoma got involved with Bentley, they planned fully on having a nationally elite quarterback signing in the 2027 class in Peyton Houston. And they were willing to fork over a ton of money to ensure that they landed Peyton Houston. But once Peyton Houston came off the board in favor of LSU earlier this week, at that point, here's the sense I've gotten in the last few days talking to people in that building. Whereas both Bentley and Houston were concretely in the plans, and it was just kind of going to be, whoever sticks, because the odds that quarterbacks in back-to-back classes each wind up finishing their careers at the same institution are slim, let's be honest. But whereas the initial plan was going to get Bentley, going to get Houston, let them battle it out several years down the road for the starting job, whoever wins, wins. I'm getting the sense that what Oklahoma may do moving forward is take another, what you might term a bridge guy in the 27 class. And what I mean by that is somebody along the lines of a Jet New, right? You land Michael Hawkins in the 24 cycle. You land Bo Bentley in the 26 cycle. The guy sandwiched in between is Jet New, a guy who comes in with more modest expectations. If he develops, great, but there's not necessarily an expectation, at least among the fan base, that guy is going to be a rock-solid SEC starter one day. That's what he turns into, great. If not, he's not a huge chunk out of the payroll, and he's solid depth. What Oklahoma may do in the 27 class is they may take a bridge guy and then try to find another top end and pay for a top end quarterback in the 28 cycle. Now, I had one source tell me last night, look, we're Oklahoma. We can afford to be deliberate in how we play this situation out in the 27 class. We're going to do this right. We're not going to do this fast. So is that certainly what they're going to do? Not necessarily. But it's an option that's on the table. And in that hypothetical realm, Grayson, you're just saying, all right, Bo Bentley's our guy. We're more or less going to go find a backup in 2027. Obviously, you're not phrasing it that way in the conversations with recruits, the guys you're pursuing, but that's kind of the underlying calculus is Bo Bentley's our guy. Let's go find him a backup.
Yeah, and I know we're running up against it here real soon, so I'll just go ahead and make this quick. That's been my thinking this whole time, that the presence of Bo Bentley and that you're rock solid sure that he's going to be in your class allowed you the margin for error in 2027 if things with Peyton Houston didn't go your way. Things with Peyton Houston didn't go your way, you still got Michael Hawkins. You're going to transition in to Bo Bentley, or even you might transition from Mateer to Bentley, depending on how that situation ends up. You are more than okay. There's no need to panic.
On that note, Oklahoma is hosting a 2027 quarterback this weekend. Jaden Jefferson, a 3-star out of the state of California, currently committed to Sacramento State. Odds that holds pretty slim. He's a 2027 kid, and he's going to get plenty of FBS interest. OU really likes him. There are some Kyler Murray vibes to the way that he plays the game. Obviously, he is not Kyler Murray because there's only one Kyler Murray.
But he's good.
There are some rough similarities there.
Great arm.
Final text. Does Hawkins end up being the odd man out in this situation? The wild card is Mateer staying. I think at this point, John Mateer is at Oklahoma for one season, the way he's playing.
Yeah.
Because he'll be a first-round pick in April if he keeps him sit up. All right, folks, we are done. Got one final installment of Locked In coming your way tomorrow before the weekend. The Rush is coming up next. Teddy Lehman, Tyler McComas on the other side. Keep it here.